Hey, are you ready for an absolutely absurd 2v2v2 on Carville with some super wonky teams? As the Orange Soviets, we are going to be having QQQ102 as the, and the Yellow Soviets, we are going to be having EAD101-2002. On, let's see here, the top side. On the bottom side, we are going to be having K? Because, that's not suggestive. As the Blue Soviets going for Crane first, and as the Red Soviets, we are going to be having Pharaoh 531, I think. And then Genocide is going to be the Purple Allies' only allied player. And as the Cyan Soviets, we are going to be having Predator. And as you can probably tell, the teams are super wonky. So it's orange and yellow, blue and red, Cyan and purple. Basically, in the way that I announced them, they are based on teams. And so we are going to be having kind of team unity on the bottom there. While Team Orange and Yellow, they're split up. Team Cyan and Purple, they're split up as well. So, I don't know, blue and red seem to have an advantage going Crane first because, hey, I'm isolated from basically everyone deciding not to go for the bridge, but instead we are going to be seeing insane amounts of bear battles. I almost said dog battles, but that's just not quite right. And 2 sentry guns are going to be enough to hold the rest of that army at bay. An army, I do mean a bunch of dead animals and also 1 or 2 dead people because, animals die a lot quicker and they're also cheaper. Goodness, there's so many things to say there, but I'm not going to say any of them. Genocide, on the other hand, going to be going for 2 refineries, followed by only 1 barracks, and not really followed. He'd place the barracks first, but going to be streaming infantry into Orange Guy's base, QQQ. Probably just call him QQ, because, he's probably going to QQ. Heyo! I don't even know who that is. Never played with the person before, but just going to say that he's, a DCer, because that's always a good thing to do, I thought. Actually going to be throwing down a sentry turret, and let's not even go there. Going for super reactor. Looks like Predator. I have to keep switching over to look over at my text file to find out what these people's names are, because it's a 2v2v2, and other than that, it's a 2v2v2 with people that I don't know. So it's a bunch of people I don't know, and, then there's 6 of them. And dual Crane, because Pharaoh is absolutely insane. He's going to be expanding like a madman, and most likely just going to take over the entire map with buildings, because he can build 3 base defenses at once, and with his blue friend, they can, if they get together, they can build like 5 base defenses at once, which is ridiculous and absolutely absurd. Of course, the blue guy going to be expanding to every expansion on the left side of the map, because why not? While, on the other hand, red guy is going to be taking, I believe he's taking the I'm out of money option, and it looks like Purple and Cyan have kind of set up base outside of Orange Guy. Just going to, yeah, that's a thing, just going to repeat their colors and call them Guy. But blue and red are going to be setting up some Tesla turrets over here, going to be capturing that oil derrick, because extra money is always good, and basically this is going to be a battle of the base defenses, just canceling that. Maybe they should build 2 of them, or maybe one of them should throw down a couple of sentry guns in close proximity to that Tesla coil, and actually able to hit that barracks from all the way over there. Blue guy is going to be setting up a couple of more expansions. I'm kind of surprised he's only building 1 refinery at a time. Oh, just kidding, because he also wants to build a barracks. And actually is red going to expand there as well, because that would be kind of sneaky of him to do. And the hammer tanks are now out, but so are terror drones to take down those hammer tanks out of Predator. Excuse me while I drink some delicious tea to try and calm my throat, but sickles are not the right choice to make when you're going to fight some hammer tanks, especially when you've got a Tesla trooper to go against, and a single terror drone may be able to finally take down that 1 hammer tank, and that will be really the first action of this game, other than the mass infantry wars in the beginning. Orange guy is going to be setting up a sentry gun to shoot down those walls, because nobody likes fortress walls, and everybody is going to be throwing down beacons because it's a team game, and beacons are nice and friendly and, team games. And it does look like blue is going to be trying to take down Orange's expansion by taking out some of those refineries, of course, building Akula subs. Orange doesn't like super reactor. He likes super reactors. He likes just regular reactors, which is why he has 5 of them. And unfortunately for the Orange guy, QQQ, he cannot crush those Akula subs in the water. That would be absolutely absurd. Instead, he's just going to be selling off right there, completely seeding that kind of central 2 or refineries, or mines rather, or nodes, and he's just going to head on home, set up shop back in his base with his wonky war factory that's facing the wrong direction. but that's okay. We do forgive him. And purple, on the other hand, going to be setting up a mass amount of infantry on the top side, trying to do some serious damage. And when I say that, I mean he's just trying to hold down that spot and keep it protected. Deciding to build an extra prospector because, hey, you can never have too many of those, right? This is Tiberium Wars. No, it's not, you sillies. This is Red Alert 3. You only need one per expansion, of course, being a little bit simplified there. And still not a whole lot going on right now. Unfortunately, we are going to be seeing red and blue, of course, teaming up together to make that expansion even just a little bit stronger with an extra flak cannon being thrown down. Of course, the glory of those team games is always being able to throw down a surprise base defense in your allies' base and just own whoever is attacking them. And actually, I have to say, orange and blue doing a pretty good job of capping a lot of those oil derricks. They have at least 3 around the map, maybe even 4. No, I think only 3, while the other teams really only have like 1. Actually, yeah, just 1 between them. And trying to take down that oil derrick with the expanding Tesla coils. Never a good time for Team Red and Blue. And oh, Guardian tanks on the left side going to be attacking, but they are at least a little bit scared of that Tesla coil. Going to be dropping that precision bomber strike, whatever it is called, on that Tesla coil, and with enough infantry to definitely be able to take it down, that Tesla coil. Just kidding, because there's another one building right behind it. And even with the Guardian tanks, will they be able to do enough damage to this ore refinery? Yes, they will, even with that Tesla Trooper one-shotting those infantry and now turning their attention to that Tesla Trooper. They might be able to get the barracks, but a second Tesla Trooper has emerged, and with his conscript constantly doing damage to these peacekeepers, he might be able to do enough damage to take them down before it goes down. No, the barracks does go down, as does the flak trooper, and then retreating just at the right time. And are the satellites going to be good enough? Yes, they are good enough to take down a couple of peacekeepers, but they completely miss that Guardian tank instead. And even Yellow getting a couple of units because he doesn't just like base defense. He likes units too. He likes, building a couple of things. And oh, Orange is probably going to get totally owned by Predator right here, and with a couple of camping outside with that Tesla Trooper completely locking down any unit that immediately walks out. And, driving your MCV right into that Tesla coil range because, it seemed like a good idea at the time. That's what a lot of people say. When I drive my MCV into a Tesla coil field, I'm just like, yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time because, lots of people ask me about that. I'm just walking down the street and people are like, hey, why did you drive that MCV into that Tesla coil or Tesla Trooper? And I'm like, yeah. Tesla coil going to be going down from mass hammer tank attacks, and the hammer tanks are actually going to be switching around to try and deal with this massive attack of one Stingray. Goodness, because that can't be handled by like a single sentry turret. MCV will most likely go down. Oh, just kidding, because they didn't finish taking down the Tesla coil. Why, Cyan? Why did you not decide that was going to be a good idea? Athena cannon's a pretty good way to deal with those pesky little... I forgot what they're called. Tesla towers, Tesla coils. You'd think I'd know that. They were in Red Alert 2, and they were in Red Alert 1, weren't they? Yes, they were. They were in Red Alert 1. I haven't played that game in so long because, Wall's pretty bad at blocking Athena cannon strikes, but Purple doing a pretty good job of building a solid ground army, and he's basically sacked his main base in that he hasn't really built anything over there. He's just been focusing on working up this section over here, still just producing a whole lot of units. And look at that, they even turned on bonus crates. So you got those crate drops, which were the best thing ever in Red Alert 2. You just run over a crate and then you get an MCV and suddenly you have Yuri and the Soviets and you're like, oh, why doesn't this happen more often? It's so awesome. Happened to me once in a multiplayer game. Yes, I totally owned until I got destroyed, and then, it was pretty great, though. And the Precision Strike once again going to be taking out just a single unit because, hey, why not? And V4s are now going to be out for Team Red and Blue, or rather just Team Red. And it looks like Team Orange has left, leaving Team Yellow being the sole contender of that actual team. So I guess it's not really a team because there's no I in team, and I implies one person. Unless it's me, myself, and I, in which it could be 3 people in one. But that's just, a little bit silly. And V4 is going to be working down this old orange base, turning it into a yellow base, and Purple able to do some serious damage to Red, or rather to Blue, but it's Team Red-Blue, and some... Red, why are you doing this? Actually, kind of absurd, setting up very pretty-looking walls for those Athena cannons. I mean, really, and... just going to be, okay. All right, you know, it's a team game. It's a 2v2v2. No one is going to be taking this seriously. Even Natasha having a little bit of fun and getting in on that action. And a mass sell-off, the fire sale. Is it? No, it's actually not going to be a complete fire sale. Just selling off a couple of buildings. Might have been better just to keep those to try and delay this army, allow the MCV to escape, allow this refinery to get a couple more loads of ore in. And Yellow Guy actually losing his few Tesla coils, those brave 2 Tesla coils to that V4, and then he's just going to let his hammer tanks take some damage because why not? While getting cleaned up in the middle ground, Yellow is most likely going to be out of it, but Purple and Blue, are they going to be facing off? We have Natasha heading up the left side. She will be able to do some pretty massive damage to any sort of line of infantry because, you know, Peacekeepers like to make lines. Which if she could get over there and snipe those, that would be pretty great to see. Don't know if I've ever actually seen that real-world application of that ability in some sort of, you know, actual team game, or well, actually just a multiplayer game in general. And no, Natasha is going to be scaring off all of these little peacekeepers, and they may have to just kind of turn around, split up into groups, and see if they can take her out. That one bullfrog trying to be a hero, and instead the Athena cannon is going to be going for the snipe. Was not able to get it, and the Apocalypse tank decides to turn himself around. But Apocalypse tanks are now out for red as well, and in the middle, being completely claimed over by Cyan. Still hasn't expanded. He's just kind of cleared out the expansions of yellow and then is deciding not to expand for himself because that would be boring. Finally throwing down a couple of rocks, which definitely aren't Mirage tanks, but throwing down a war factory in his main base. Purple is going to be building a second attack force, most likely to sweep down the side and to try and clean up yellow, then red, then blue. But red is going to be cleaning up yellow anyways because yellow doesn't want to engage where there's an Apocalypse tank and a Tesla coil. That would just be silly. Even able to grab one of those hammer tanks with absolute ease and completely crush it right there. V4s and Dreadnoughts alike going to be raining fire down on yellow, so poor yellow getting kind of left in the water or left out for dead by his partner who just dropped out of the game. And even the MCV of orange getting locked down by a terror drone and infested by another terror drone, and then shot by V4 rockets from a Dreadnought because this guy is having a pretty terrible day, and he's like, it couldn't get any worse, and then he starts getting launched, and then rockets get launched at him, is what I'm trying to say, if I could talk. Purple trying to set up an expansion, finally able to get that ore refinery off the ground, and I'm not exactly sure, I guess just cleaning up those last few wall segments. What is this? Oh, it's just a twin blade, but is it a twin blade with... Is it a twin blade with anything inside of it? That is the real question. Are we going to be seeing an engineer drop, or are we going to be seeing a twin blade just get taken out by... I kind of think that was like a last-ditch effort out of yellow. Either that or he thought one twin blade could do a lot of damage, or as part of a larger strike force, they got taken out. But yellow's like, all right, I'm going to play my card, going to totally make a comeback and win this game. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be epic. Everyone's going to love it. And then the Hammerhead just goes down. It's not a Hammerhead, it's a twin blade, despite the fact that they look very, very similar. Hammerhead, twin blade, turns out they're not actually the same thing. Able to snipe that one bullfrog, and are they going to be going to town on the rest of these units? No, because this other bullfrog swings in from the side. Blue able to clean out the twin blades. Yes, right there, finally able to take them down. I guess I could have turned on health bars. That would have been useful a long time ago. I always forget about that. But going to be, actually not going to be doing anything over there because that's just a building. V4's moving back into position by Team Red. He is most likely going to be going for that MCV, although he may just go for the super reactor to try and cut the tech. But no, MCV, excellent choice indeed. Twin blades are now out, and are we going to be seeing the satellites actually do any damage? What are you doing? Those bullfrogs just getting annihilated. Red, clearly a master of micro because, you know, pulling 3 V4s backwards and then forwards, and did the MCV escape? It did manage to escape. It's going to be running north towards Purple, which is probably a pretty terrible idea considering Purple has 2 rocks that his Peacekeepers can throw at it. But Purple, with a pretty big strike force, completely spread out, able to easily get segregated, split up, and destroyed if Blue had the muscle. Oh goodness, that is absurd. Red, what in the world are you doing? You know that your opponents have long-range artillery, but you are being wonky because you know it's a team game and it just doesn't matter. So Red being absolutely silly, and this is how you're supposed to play team games with a bunch of V4s, while I criticize for basic lack of some of the fundamentals that make this game great, but also that make the players great. And the cryo shot, or as that cryo blast, yeah, that's just tier 1 cryo blast going down, able to lock down all of those V4s, completely destroying them, and the Athena cannons mixing in with Soviet units, not something you see very often. Terror drones getting in on the action as well, but both of those Tesla coils do go down, and this could be it for Iron Curtain on the barracks. Because why not? YOLO is, I believe, the reason given mostly for Iron Curtaining barracks. Because, you know, why not? Yodo also. And red and blue alike getting completely taken out. 2 super reactors are over here. We are going to have to keep our eye on them just for the awesome explosions. I really hope that purple and cyan coordinate and they're like, hey, oh, actually, no, that wasn't Iron Curtain. I was wondering why I never saw the Iron Curtain logo. And then I was like, wait, what? Iron Curtain? And it was totally getting destroyed. No, selling off the super reactors, Blue. What are you doing, you crazy? But Natasha instead not nearly as exciting as an Iron Curtain. However, Athena cannons flying past the screen, pretty awesome as well. Tesla coil, terror coils. They launch terror drones at people, or at vehicles more of, I guess people too, but mostly vehicles. And oh goodness, that would be terrifying. But also a couple of Guardian tanks with their laser pointers going to be able to do some massive damage. Well, actually not really do any massive damage, but assist in the massive amounts of damage being dealt to that base and the V4s and the Apocalypse tanks, because why send your units in together? More of actually that would be a pretty good plan to split them all up when your opponent has V4s, and then actually cause the V4s to force or to accidentally fire on your opponent. That, of course, be nearly impossible to micro correctly with that kind of crazy idea. But actually, Tesla coil over here, and this is just an absurd amount. Even with just IFVs alone, this entire army could probably sweep over here, eliminate the Tesla coil within seconds, and then, of course, we'll eliminate that war factory. But purple, on the other hand, going to just be like, hey, I don't even care. I'm completely cleaning up this base in the bottom left-hand corner. And then red kind of has this base over here. He doesn't have any power, though, so, of course, production time's going to be doubling. And blue has a Stingray, the terrifying Stingray. That is there anything that's weaker than the Stingray? Maybe a bear or maybe a MiG. Actually, I think MiGs are stronger versus ground because you can use a MiG to shoot down another MiG and crash it onto ground stuff. That probably does more damage than a Stingray. Don't worry, I'm not serious. Kids, calm down. But V4 is going to be doing damage to this super reactor. Yeah, red, I hate you, red, for selling off that super reactor. Do we even have any super reactors left? Yes, this one had better get destroyed. Red, I'm counting on you to let me see a super reactor explode. Purple doesn't have any super reactors. Cyan is most likely not going to get taken out at this point, and red is probably going to die, so please finish that super reactor so I can watch it blow up, because the animation is pretty cool and fireballs are pretty great to see. Pulling back because I have no idea why. Purple and cyan can totally own this game right here, right now. Yellow is going to be completely cleaned up except for, nope, the MCV has escaped, so he still has a chance. He can pull a Vruatsa. Just kidding, spoiler alert, that's from another game. And try and take this game back. Yellow, I would love to see a comeback like that. But 2 Mirage tanks going to be chasing down that MCV. Will the MCV get a crush? Yes, 1 crush does happen. And another crush, so 2 MCVs actually, or 2 Mirage tanks actually going down. And then yellow is about to be out of the game, right? No, everyone just got eliminated. And the super reactor. The super reactor. I don't even want to see the end of this game anymore because the super reactor did get taken out when I was not watching, which is probably the worst thing that could have possibly happened. So GG to Purple and Cyan, whoever you were, Predator and Genocide. Goodness, that's a terrible name. Genocide? Really? You're a terrible person. But anyways, Genocide going to be the clear winner in the units and probably also the resources tab. Although, no! Actually, okay? Going to be the winner in the resource tab for at least the beginning, but who actually won the resource race? And it does look like it is going to be our friend Genocide, which is probably the worst friend you could have, because, you know, what if your friend has a different sort of idea than you? Then he's like, hey, well, you know, you're white and I'm not, so I'm going to kill all the white people, because that happens a lot. Anyways, this is going to be Sybert signing out.